Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 21 of The Technician's Fight. Tell me they aren't looking, his heart implored, face buried in his chest fur. You'd know I lied as soon as you looked up. People weren't so inconsiderate as to stop and gawk, or worse, masturbate. That was permitted within a leisure alley, but there was a level of decorum expected around lovers. Around lover, choosing it as a place to indulge in each other. That the only Earther on the ship and the captain were the ones who had done it, had no choice but to bring a crowd. Fortunately, it was a moving one. People making the detour on their way to their destination. There are going to be recordings, aren't there? Jer asks, head still in his fur. We are in public. I can't believe I did this. Now Gralgiran shifted. He'd allowed his heart a level of embarrassment, but not to make this something he regretted doing. He raised Jer's chin until he had to look him in the eyes. No one thinks less of you for this. They aren't judging you negatively. Envy, it's me here and not them, is probably what most of them feel. The recordings will not be used to debase what we did or who you are. They will be shared among lovers and friends, something to fantasize along. I don't get how you're so at ease with it. His eyes flicked to the passing people. I'm Captain in Alpha. That should probably be capitalized. I am a public figure on the ship and off. But this is us, naked, having sex. He rubbed his muzzle against his heart's cheek. It's not my first time in such a couch, in such an alley chair. Only my first time with the male I care more about than anyone else. Jeremy nodded and rested his head on his chest, not looking away from the people. But Gralgiran suspected he did what he could not to see them. He was impressed by the bravery this took, but also understood that coming down from that put the decision in doubt. I think we should go home, his heart suggested. You realize that means moving to get dressed, with them watching. Jer hid his face in his fur again. Maybe he shouldn't have pointed that out. Just think of it as the undressing room at the gym or the reservoir. I don't have sex there, Jeremy mumbled in the fur. In public, he then added. Docking completed, the shuttle pilot announced, and Gralgiran stood. Unlock the prisoners, take position. The pack moved, and by the time he unlocked the hatch and cycled it, they were behind him, the Earthers between them. The administrator was waiting for him this time, along with a pack of... He decided not to judge. He expected the male was doing the best he could to impress him after the last time. He didn't dare hope this level of attentiveness was now standard for them, no matter how unkind it made him. Captain, the male greeted him. It's a surprise to see you again, and with... He looked displeased. Well, he finally said, maybe the female's still alive and they can pack together. Yeah, I've been reminded I forgot to establish what happens to her. I'll have to do that in draft 2. You don't know? They should be keeping a tally of who was still alive on the planet. She hasn't been cooperative. She's evaded the rounding packs twice now, but inmates on the last one said they'd seen her. Said she'd been seen. That was 2 days ago, so she is probably still alive. If your pack will hand them over to my guards, I will ensure they make it to the surface safely. Do you have more of them? These Earthers are trained to fight us and gave my hunters trouble. He didn't want to point out the inadequacy of the guards, but also couldn't afford the Earthers to couldn't afford the Earthers would take advantage of it and escape. There was a no telling. No telling the kind of damage they could do in the process and how vulnerable it would leave those on the surface. Alpha is better said while the administrator's ears vanish in his fur. If the administrator and his guards are amicable, we can go down with them to be available to provide backup should they ask for it. Gralgiran looked at the administrator, still not over the shock, then at the guard. None of them looked to the betas, so when the closest one noticed him looking, he asked, Is the presence of the pack acceptable? She looked at the administrator, who still hadn't recovered. Yes, she stammered. We could use the help. Then consider them under your command for the duration. What? She looked at them. I can't. Gralgiran placed a hand on her shoulder. You can. Regardless of the reasons that placed you here, you are Kelsirian. The gods would not demand anything of you they don't know you can accomplish. The pack will serve under you. Ask, and they will answer. He thought he saw understanding. It was all he could do, short of ordering them about. He had the authority, but he wasn't here to undermine the administrator, not unless his actions forced his hand. That is kind of you, Alpha. The administrator said, now looking settled. Since it means you are going to be here until they return, do you want me to give you a tour of the facilities? I'm sure you'll find them much improved since your last visit. He studied the mail. He saw some fear and worry in his eyes, but also eagerness. Maybe he had been unkind and things had improved. Please, I'd love to see what you did. Gralgiran stood in the center of the bridge, trying not to fidget. He wasn't doing something he hadn't done many times since becoming Alpha. She'd even been the one he'd spoken to all the previous times, so he knew she respected him. So why was it that each time... Okay. Each time... I need to clarify something because it's been pointed out to me that this feels like Aragath is the Alpha he's going to be talking to when he's just drawing a comparison. So why was it that each time he spoke with this Alpha, he felt like he was back home under Aragath's wise and judgmental gaze? His father's mother had a knack for making him feel like a child anytime she visited. Actually, no, it's she'd visit because she's no longer alive. Hopefully this will help. The screen shimmered and an older Kelsirian standing in the center of a room appeared, and he straightened even more. Alpha. He greeted her. At his first meeting, he'd use her full title and name. Head Alpha of the Gods Pack, the Sirimatar Gorak Fridolian Ashmir. She had laid into him and promised that if he ever treated her as anything other than one of the Alphas, she would see to it he made Beta again without a chance to ever achieving further rank again. Oh, he made Beta. He'd be returned to Beta without a chance of ever achieving further rank again. When he'd been able to think again hours later, he thought there was a practice to the speech, that he wasn't the first one she'd threatened that way. He hadn't dare ask the Alpha he knew. The Alphas he knew. He didn't want to find out he'd been the only one to make that mistake. Alpha, she replied with a tilt of an ear. How go the hunts? The hunts have been fruitful. Meat has been gathered and distributed. The hunters are ready to return to it. She smiled. How have you been, Gralgiran Selhavnir? Oh, how the casualness irked him. The Alpha above them all shouldn't be smiles and greetings once the ceremonial greeting was done. She should be demanding status report numbers, telling him where his ship was needed. If she was anyone else, he would explain in pointed language what her rank meant. I've been good. Desirimitar Gorak Fredolian Ashmir. The tilt of an ear turns quizzical. Good? Word is, you have found your heart, and you are good? Why, and he taken this in his office? He wouldn't have had an audience for this breach in rank. What kind of example was this for hunters? He has brightened my life more than the gods can imagine. The gods imagine much, Alpha. They don't imagine enough, trust me. His ears folded back, and he barely stifled a groan. And she had the gall to smile. In private, he promised himself. Further, these would be in private. You may be correct. I doubt they imagine he would ask to be a hunter, and one that will make us proud, I'm told. Told by whom? The alpha of them all had a cadre of people helping her, each one reputed to be close to a god. Yeah, I don't know that I can. There's clarification needed here, but I don't know I can put it in without stretching this too much. Reputed to be close to a god, close enough. Close enough. Not only Centaria's mouth spoke their words. Because what happens here is that Centarina's mouth, Centarina is the god of the seers. They're the gods who see the past, the future, and the past. Those who are being close to your god, to a god, means that they meddle in your life a little more. You get details that most people don't. It's not prophecy, it's the gods telling them something. And what I'm realizing here is that I don't think I've established who Centarina is at this point, which could be part of why there's confusion. No one he'd asked had been able to confirm if it was true, and there's going to be a comma here. And the one time he'd worked up the courage to ask her directly, she'd only smiled. I am glad to hear this. He trains hard, and his Earther's physiology is proving He trains hard, and his Earther physiology proving interesting training. That doesn't work. Is proving interesting in training the beta. Is his Earther physiology is proving in. Oh, is okay. This is not proving. This is providing. This is providing I don't need internet. It's providing training the betas are looking to incorporate. And what is your reason for letting them? She asked in a tone he couldn't work out. It was a reproach. It wasn't the reproach he'd expected from the leadership for daring to change established system. It was closer to, that's going to be trailing hope. The Earthers who boarded my ship to kidnap my heart had enough information on us. They knew to push to exhaustion and to push us to exhaustion, and that clearly had training in doing so. While we were aware of their higher stamina, we weren't ready for how they fought. The two males who were able to hold their own against them both had training in stamina management. And you're having them help? I'm reluctant to let a Halan teach my hunters. concerned they might turn some of them to piracy. With another Holland, possibly. With this one, he's more likely to find a way to turn the entire training session into an orgy. She snickered, then covered her mouth, a muzzle looking abash. A talented male, I take it. Or so I'm told by far too many people. I'm surprised you haven't put him to the test, considering your reputation. I still have standard, Alpha. He doesn't meet them. Please, let's move on to something else. Maybe he could help it along. Has there been concern about the Tahonians shepherding the Earthers? Yes, but they are always when the Tahonians do something. Considering the Earthers' actions, they may be warranted this time, but I haven't heard anything requiring we change the line. He nodded. He had to hope it would remain so. Am I returning to my last position, or am I needed elsewhere? She considered him. He'd been as direct as he dared in asking if he was directly involved in those concerns. That her answer took time was worrisome. From what I know, you are to return to your position at this time, implying he should be ready for this to change. Thank you, Alpha. The gods thank you, Alpha. May the wind hide your scent from your prey. The screen turned blank. Gralgiran looked at his reflection, tie in hand. Should he? He usually did. You know, okay, yeah, the main tie in hand. Should he? He usually did. You know, Jer said, considering what we're doing, I think you'd be the one having trouble. I wouldn't think. I keep forgetting negation. I don't know why, or putting negation where there are not. That's a flip. I'm still not quite figuring out why I do it. I wouldn't think I'd be the. Oh, because you'd think I'd be the one. That's okay. This time it's because I wasn't reading properly, which shows that even reading out loud is not a guarantee I'll catch a mistake. You'd think I'd be the one having trouble getting ready. Isn't clubbing something you do regularly? Yes, but not as the ship's captain. I usually alter enough of my appearance so I'm just another one of the males there. But you're going to be there, along with many of your friends. But your presence means that they'll be looking for me, jailing against the counter. So is it oh, that's bad. Bad if you go as captain? There is, he hesitated, something of a status gained by being able to claim to have had sex with a ship's captain. And I am also the Alpha. Some of that notoriety rubs off on them? His heart grinned. I was worried you wouldn't take it well that I've had sex with them. Those are in the past, and I told you when you explained what going to the club meant for you and your friends. And mine, which they confirmed. I can't promise I'll be fine accepting a stranger's offer, but you have my permission to have sex with anyone you want. He took his hand in his. You kept yourself for me without checking with me first, I'll remind you, so I will be okay with you having sex with others. I don't want you to force. I will be okay, Growl. You've had sex with your friends and never made me feel like I wasn't getting as much of your love, of your sex, as before. It's a shift for me, I'll admit that, but I'm getting there. Gralgiran kissed him. I love you. Trust me, I know that. Jer kissed him. Now, how about you leave that tie on the counter and finish getting ready? We don't want your friends to be the only ones at the club. Oh, this is going to be so fun! The male that fell into step with him and Jer said with far too much enthusiasm for Gralgiran's liking. Jer elbowed him. The quartermaster looked at Gralgiran, took Gralgiran's arm in his. Gralgiran, he said, grinning too widely. You know, we're all friends here. No, he told his heart. Do you have any idea how hard that Halan has been working at trying to get me to shorten his name? I will forego his rank, Jer, but do not ask me to shorten his name. Enough of a victory for me, the quartermaster said, and Gralgiran couldn't believe what he heard. Actually, yeah, if I don't say that, it'll be questionable if. Yeah. Was this a stranger hiding under an expert fur dye? Oh, I am so glad you arranged this, Tom said, hugging Gralgiran from behind. I'm so glad you agreed to it, Jeremy. Zenial, he said, told cooling. It is pleasant to see you here. You know, I can make it a whole lot pleasurable, Tomarin. It's not because you're his best friend that you have to hate my guts. I don't hate your guts, Alan. I just don't like pirates, supposedly reformed or otherwise. The quartermaster looked at Gralgiran. There's a reformed Alan on this ship, and you never told me? You know he means you, right? Jer said. Oh, then you're just plain wrong. I'm not reformed. Is it too late to change my mind about this? Gralgiran implored. Yes, Tom said, nuzzling his neck. You and all of us, not reformed Alan included, are going to have a wonderful time dancing and meeting new people and, hopefully, he added, turning his head in Jer's direction, have sex with someone new too. Jer hurried ahead toward the couple walking in their direction. He and the male rubbed muzzle. Then Jer looked at the female, embarrassed. He offered a hand, took it back, fidgeted, and she pulled him into a hug. His bashfulness is so cute, Tom said. Not a sight of him I've seen, the quartermaster said. With me, he's all, let's fucking he? He can't he? Tom said wistfully. Ask him, Gralgiran said. Maybe after this, his friend replied. And Gralgiran hoped he meant it. He had heard that wistfulness before, and he didn't want him to not act on getting what he wanted, since this time there was nothing for him to stand it. There was nothing for himself. Oh, but himself standing in the way. Growl, Jer said as they reached him and the couple. You know, Thur, this is near like a Sar is mate. Cap. She closed her mouth and took a breath. Gralgiran, it is a pleasure to meet you. I apologize for my discomfort. She glanced at Jer. I am not used to this level of familiarity. I understand. I find myself subjected to more of it than I'm comfortable as well. But I am glad you and your mate agreed to join us. More will be joining as, and maybe due, to my heart's insistence. And maybe, due to my heart's insistence, some of us will grow more comfortable with the shortened names. You look at the quartermaster, not you. The male smiled with the most innocent folded ears Gralgiran had ever seen. The group grew as more of their friends joined them. Only a few turned down the invitation. Some had been expected. Gralgiran had contacted Alex in the hopes he'd come, but hadn't been surprised at the refusal. Alex preferred his pleasure in intimate settings. The psychologist's refusal had disappointed Jer. She had duties she couldn't pass on to others or delay. They drew looks and a following, many of whom followed them into the club, even if they were overdressed, not having planned on an evening of exertion. They had a glass of wine, then headed to the dance floor. He kept Jer close for a dance, then let him go, and forced himself to pay attention to the males and females who came to him. He danced with them, then rested, watching Jeremy with a crowd of males and females, taking turns moving with him. There's no comma here. Letting other partners letting another partner take their place while Jer kept going. Tom took a turn with him, as did Lil, Lit, and Draz. He caught sight of Thuruk, Selminial, and his mate dancing with a pair of females as he returned to the dance floor and set his sight on a muscular black-furred male. They danced, they nuzzled, they nipped at each other's neck, and then rested. They separated for more dancing, Growl finding himself with Jer again, along with a stocky male clearly in adoration with his heart. Then he was resting again, and then back onto dancing. When he saw Jer not dancing, he was at a table with people around him. When Growl decided the evening had been long enough, he was dancing with the black-furred male again, and this time the nibble and nuzzling grew inviting, teasing. When they needed rest, they left for a leisure alley to enjoy each other further. And that concludes chapter 21 of The Technician's Fight. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is available on Ream Story. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.